Hello everyone, whether you are a new player that's just getting into Wayfinder or are a veteran looking for more ways to optimize your gameplay, this is the video for you. Today, I will be giving you tips and tricks to be able to grab better gear in Wayfinder. Let's start off by talking about how you could turn on voice chat. So to do this, what you want to do is go to your menus by pressing start, go to your settings. Within your settings, you want to go to game. When you're under game, you want to scroll down to the voice chat settings and you want to scroll and enable voice chat. That does not completely turn on your voice chat settings. What you then want to do is back out of your menus and you'll see a prompt in the middle of your screen in the menu section where on Xbox and PlayStation, click R3 or the right stick. For the PC, it may be something different. Once you click R3, you'll make sure the enable voice chat settings are on. Input mode, either push to start or voice activity detection. And then you want to check to see if you want to be party only or not. Now when you do this, you'll be able to speak to people within dungeons. Now maybe in the future, Airship Syndicate will allow us to be able to speak in lobbies. Now wouldn't that be nice to be able to talk to someone about joining raids? Now while you are still in your menus, you want to go to the controls section, and within controls, you want to scroll down to toggle sprint. Now this will help if you are in the middle of a fight with a boss or in a dungeon and you find yourself running out of stamina. It's probably because your sprint is toggled on and you're still running. If you too go to graphics and turn off motion blur, that may assist you in looking left and right. Now that's just a personal preference. If you have found yourself fighting the loot goblin and he's running away and you find it hard to chase him, one thing that you can do is stand in front of him before he runs away, and if you are in a party, you can be able to block him prior to breaking his guard, and it makes it for an easier kill. If you have ever had a downed ally and you are in a party of 3 people, if you guys both heal him at the same time, it will actually revive him faster than if you were to do it by yourself. So go in and get the double fisting, guys. When playing through dungeons and boss trials, they will eventually drop different crafting recipes, some of which can be used for different item consumption use within these activities. Go to Market Road and speak to Venge. There, they will provide potions and elixirs that will provide different effects based on tier and item. One thing each of these have, however, is a 5% experience boost for 5 minutes upon use. Earning experience has become a bit more difficult, so every percentage counts. This one will be a bonus tip because it may be fixed in the future. Fighting bosses currently may be a bit broken. When you fight the boss the first time, such as fighting the First or the Storm Twins, it seems as it's a bit easier to go through different phases because you could take out more of their health earlier than if you were to wipe. If you find yourself on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th attempt and the boss is getting a little bit harder, it's because he actually is. And here's a bonus tip for the First. If you are on the part where the blocks are going towards you when you are on the platform, if you were to guard and block during that portion, you will actually mitigate the damage that you receive. It will count as a block. Now speaking of blocks, whenever you block or parry an attack from a boss or an NPC, it will actually be just as effective as dodging. So if you find yourself wasting stamina, dodging and blocking at the same time, and having no stamina to block afterwards, maybe try and block and parry. And when you're blocking and parrying, if you were to look at the bottom of the screen under the boss, when that area of effect turns into that pinkish color, that is when the boss is actually about to execute his move. And if you were to block at that very moment where he was about to execute that move, you will get a perfect block or a perfect parry, which can mitigate most of the damage within the game. If you speak to Foreman Ruby at the West Gates, you may find that you have items and artifacts within your inventory that can be crafted to give you boosts within activities or materials for crafting weapons and Wayfinder. For those who love housing, this can also be a great source for more furniture within your room, which leads to what materials do you need and how can you find them? Well, if you were to go under the item and press view ingredients details, they will show you the location and the place each of these materials can be found. This goes for weapons, housing materials, crafting materials, as well as armor. If you find yourself in need of additional gloomstones, you can complete helper missions, which give you helper coins. Now, to complete helper missions, go into the main gate. On PlayStation is triangle, on Xbox is Y, and it will be to complete helper queues. Now, once you complete these helper queue missions, in the end, they will give you helper coins, which you could turn in to the wolf at bitter end, which may be fitting for the help finder. Now, you could grab these as well as additional trickster and skeleton keys. Did you know that not only can you use different imbuements to make gameplay a little bit harder to farm out more imbuements within dungeons, but you can also use them to empower you within the dungeon. If you were to go inside a dungeon and visit one of the chalice, you could have different buffs. I'll have it on screen for which buffs you could get for which imbuement, but some buffs like the solar imbuement for max health, or the flora imbuement for a defensive buff, or if you want to go a little bit quicker with the greed empowerment. Just take a look at these, and if you find that dungeon is a little hard to take on, maybe go to the beginning and check your imbuement. On the topic of imbuements, did you know that you could cheese certain imbuements? So if you were to do the flora imbuement and you have a rifle, you can shoot most of them before you actually walk into it. As well as if you were to go into the greed imbuement, and if you were to pick up all of the money after you complete the dungeon, you will have both the coins and that dungeon will be a little bit easier because those golden enemies will not appear as frequently. You can also fast travel to different fast travel points from any location within the game. This is within dungeons and trials, as well as in the highlands or the main game area. So if you find yourself behind and some of your friends are a little bit farther ahead of you in the dungeon, if they turn on that fast travel point, you could go to them a little bit quicker. Did you know that within the menus, you can find different items? Like when you're checking your character dies, you could press L1 or R1 to change up your secondary, your trim, and other items within your character. Along with that, if you were to go into your inventory and click on the PlayStation, it's L3, you can sort your inventory by rarity, power, to make it a little bit easier to manage your items. If you find yourself wanting to min-max your build, you can fuse an echo with a weaker echo to make your echo a little bit more powerful so you can take on harder content. Going into affinities, if you were to click view affinity perks, this is a big thing right now because you cannot reset your affinity ranks. As of the time of this recording, check your affinity perks. If you have not gotten that far into the game yet to view affinities, don't worry, it comes early. View some of these perks and see which one best fits your playstyle and aim to max that perk out, because with the amount of affinity points we have right now, you can't unlock everything just yet. If you found these tips helpful, please leave a like. And if you have some tips that I haven't mentioned, please leave a comment down in the description and help your fellow Wayfinders. Thank you, and see you on the next video.